Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time. Morning, Andrea.
Good morning, Kelly.
How are you this fine Friday morning?
Doing lovely. It's been quite a week. Welcome back, everybody, to Two Women in Crypto.
It has been quite a week.
Yep. So many things going on, and Kelly's been working hard behind the scenes, and we're just going to do some housekeeping before we start. So, Kelly, you want to make some announcements for?
Yeah, I sure do. It has been a big week on a few different fronts, of course, in the markets and the news, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But we just wanted to announce a couple of things. First of all, we are going to be hosting a class on February 19th. It's a Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It'll be about an hour and a half to 2 hour class, and it's an introduction to blockchain and cryptocurrency. And during our time together, we're going to be covering all kinds of things. So whether or not you think you know everything about cryptocurrency or you think you know absolutely nothing, we would love to have you join us. We're going to be talking about what blockchain is and how it's being woven into our everyday world, whether we recognize it or not. We're going to be talking about NFTs, really the decentralization of the world's banks, and how we are really entering or already are in a digitized existence. And then we're also going to be kind of frameworking some ways to get into the market, how to easily acquire a position, how to open an exchange account, just some real high level stuff as well. So hope you join us. That registration is available on our website. If you go under the free consult tab, you will find a link for it there. It'll be $45, and we would love to have you with us. So that's the first announcement. And the second announcement is that, Andrea and I, we just have a lot of fun. We have all kinds of conversations on the side. We're thinking about all these quirky things all the time. So we decided to go ahead and launch a shop. So you can now go to twowomenandcrypto.com/shop, and you'll see some merchandise that we created. Quite a bit of it right now is Two Women and Crypto related, but we have a cool coffee cup and a couple of sweatshirts and things like that. But we're also going to be creating some meme shirts, and we have one right now that's HODL on. And wanted to announce that we are offering a 20% launch of our shop coupon, and it is called, that coupon is the word launch. And if you use that in our shop for at least this first month, you can get 20% off of anything that's in there. So we'll see if we put some new shirts and new merchandise in there shortly. But for now, we're launching, and that's cool. So launched for 20% off, and take a look. We would love to see what you have to say. All right.
Yep. Open comments, feedback, and just so excited to be on this journey with everybody. I mean, Kelly and I are just having so much fun.
Yeah, trust and flow.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna start off. We're gonna dive into the news. I don't know, there's just so much going on. Kelly and I have been touching base along the week, and Kelly, she's so good. She'll follow up with me and be like, I'm not anxious at all. Are you anxious? And so here's the deal. There's a lot going on. We've had all week to process some of this news that we're going to get into, but it's all part of getting adopted. It's the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But again, it's you listen to some of the things that Kelly and I have said in the past, and it's all part of the adoption curve. First they ignore you, then they make fun of you, and then they're like, oh, we should probably do something about this because people are using this, the crypto industry is growing, we need to control it. And then they try to ban it, and then after that, they accept it, and everything gets adopted. And once we get regulatory clarity, I mean, we're going to the moon. And it's so important not to react emotionally when the markets drop like this.
Absolutely.
It's just we huddle on and we're like, flash sale. And even if it drops, because it might drop over the next couple months, it'll go up and down. We've been watching it. It goes up, it goes down. But at the end of the day, the best performing asset in history is Bitcoin. So whatever they tell you on the news, and I even see some of the narrative kind of changing, like they're being more pro Bitcoin, like absolutely it's volatile, but if you hold your coins, you win. And that's what we want to do. We just want to hodl. We always say hodl on. And this is why.
Yeah, I think it gives us an opportunity, at least the way I look at it. And again, I came from that world where I was involved in the markets every day. And I know how that anxiety can really creep up on you when I was day trading and things of that nature. It's a real thing. I have a completely different relationship with the markets today, but I think it's just really important for us to always take this opportunity to look at what we say at almost every podcast, our investment, what is our thesis, what is it that our ultimate goal is. And ultimately, we're not looking at a week, 2, 3 weeks, whatever out. We're looking at a 3 to 5 year plan. That's the way I look at it. So anything that I'm investing in, I'm looking way out. So I can really detach from it, from that emotional vantage point. So just want to encourage that, because if we're approaching the market out of necessity, out of that desire to make a quick turn, some people do really well, but the majority of people don't do very well in that particular scenario. So it's just an opportunity for us to take a step back and look. And I love that, because it just excites me more for what is to come when the markets go through this. So let's go ahead and dive into what you uncovered this week, because I know you did some deep dives as always.
Yeah. It's really interesting too, because there's we're going to talk about the America Competes Act. There was a Davos meeting. Biden's coming out with an executive order, but it kind of made me take a step back and be like, what is money? You know what I mean? Like, money is a way to facilitate trade. That's all it is. If I have something that you want and you have something that I want, we can make a trade. And they came out with dollars because it's easier to trade things, right? Than if I have a goat and you have a horse, is that goat worth your horse? So it's just a very easy way to facilitate trade. And when you look back at the history of the United States, and not just the United States, but the more the government takes control over the money system, the less freedom we have, and then it hurts innovation, and it doesn't really motivate people to create awesome products. So because of what's happening, and at the end game here, we are moving into decentralized finance. And the powers that be, the banksters, the governments, they're kind of freaking out, y'all, because they know that this is happening and they will not go silently into the night. We've learned this. They're going to try everything they can to, control, make money off of this and track it really. And so Kelly and I've talked about this. It's our personal belief. They are not going to win. Okay, they're not going to win because these systems are already built. They're already built. Like, can they shut down Bitcoin? Can they shut down Ethereum? It's like, no, they can't. They can regulate it. And we honestly want regulation. We do want regulation, because then more players and more companies are going to feel more secure to come into the cryptocurrency world. So a lot of what we're seeing is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. When Biden says it's a matter of national security, he said that, but it's really not a matter of national security. It's a matter of the dollar's getting devalued. And there's a lot of conflict all around the world, and America is losing its number one stance. So they're just Like sometimes we also have this saying, you throw shit up against the wall and hope that something sticks. This is the point that we're at. So really interesting. We have the America Competes Act. And if it's actually this guy, Jim Hims, I don't know if you know who he is, Kelly, but he's the congressman of Connecticut. He worked for Goldman Sachs as a banker for about 12 years. He was in Latin America. He was in the New York office. And he slipped a provision into the American Competes Act on like page 1470, something like that, right? So what this guy is trying to pull for the third time he has tried to slip this in one of the bills. We had the infrastructure bill and the Defense Act. This guy tried to sneak this in and it got pulled. So hopefully it'll get pulled again. But this guy said, we have to compete with China. So we need to let the United States Treasurer, and right now the United States Treasurer is Janet Yellen. We need to give the Treasurer unilateral direct power to block United States digital payments worldwide. This is fear, uncertainty, and doubt to the fullest, right? Because if like one, we're bypassing the Constitution, it's completely not legal. We cannot give one person power over cryptocurrency. So
Right.
there's a lot of news about it, in the crypto world. But again, we're going to watch this. You can't really give someone who wasn't even elected, like Janet Yellen wasn't elected, right? She was appointed. So you can't give her unilateral power over crypto. So it's not going to happen. And if it does, people are going to peacefully revolt, right? Because this is the same woman, you guys, who wanted to do unrealized capital gains tax on her stocks and on our crypto. So that's kind of insane because unrealized capital gains taxes, say we all bought Bitcoin at 30,000, it went up to 69,000, and then the year ends. Well, Janet Yellen would want us to pay those unrealized capital gains tax on that $39,000, whether we sold or not. And now look at the market in 2022. So we went all the way down. Do we get our money back? No. So it's not, I really don't think it's going to happen, but we do need to be aware of this. Midterm elections are coming up. We got to get this guy out. Jim Himes, Himes. Everybody look him up. If you live in Connecticut, contact your representatives, contact your senators. We don't need to compete with China. If they need to give Janet Yellen or the next treasurer power to say, wake up one morning and be like, okay, everyone who lives in the United States, you can't transact on Coinbase. This is what this means. On a drop of a dime, not following due process, and then she'll have like 100 and something days to review it while our coins are probably stuck online.
Yeah. Well, that can take us down a whole rabbit hole, but isn't it interesting to watch what the fine print can actually hold? There's so many people. I mean, a majority of the world has no idea. I don't read the fine print of a lot of things. I should, but that's why it's so important, especially in our judicial systems.
Right. And that's why we do these podcasts too, because there's too much news for people to know everything that's going on. And I'm sure I miss at least half the things that go on a weekly basis. But again, we're America. We want checks and balances in our government. And we're seeing a power grab. We're at war. Cryptocurrency is disrupting the legacy financial system. And these people are like, well, how can we get control of it? How can we regulate it? So they're trying to figure all these things out. And like a really good example is the Ripple SEC lawsuit. If it was Ethereum who got sued for selling an unregistered security, because it's the same thing, then we would see Ripple being number one right now. and not Ethereum. So really, really interesting. And when you look at the players involved, and you're just like, very interesting. People have a vested interest in picking winners and losers, and decentralized finance levels that out. So we're moving there. It's going to take probably a couple of years, but at the end of the day, what's getting adopted more, cryptocurrency or more financial legacy systems?
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. That's just a no-brainer. And, we have said since the very beginning that this whole process, we're looking at the biggest exchange of financial wealth ever recorded, and it'll happen within a 3 to 5 year period of time, really. So by 2025, we should be well into everything, as far as really having a stabilized process, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a good point too, because if you think about 2025, Kelly, where's Bitcoin going to be? Do you think it'll be more than $35,000 or less than $35,000? I mean, I think we're going to hit a point where we're like, "Ooh, Bitcoin's under 100 grand. Should we buy a little bit?"
There's going to be something. I mean, I hold like 0.00 whatever I have, which is like this, very minuscule, but it's something. And hey, I'll take whatever it's going to bring.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's like you own a piece of Bitcoin, you're owning a piece of history too, right? It's so cool. And then you're putting it in Celsius and you're getting 6.2% interest. Your bank's not giving you 6.2%, and they're paying you out in Bitcoin. So it's so important. And we can, like Kelly always says, like dollar cost average. If so dollar cost average is today, the market is down. The market's been down. Now's the time to slowly, don't just take all your money and buy today, but let's buy a little bit. We're going to wait and see what happens next month. We'll wait to see what happens in March, and we're going to dollar cost average in. And then my thesis is, once we get clarity, once we get regulations on crypto, we are going to go up. We are going to move into mass adoption, and the prices are just going to soar. They're going to soar because everything is set up. We're at that point right now. All they need to do is flip a switch. And when they flip the switch, it's on. And it's very exciting.
And we're talking about the key projects here. I mean, there's over 9,000 cryptocurrencies out there right now. We're talking about the key projects. I understand that there's a lot of launches going on, and you always have to lean into what feels right to you. But we're talking about the long-term blue chips, XRP, Digibyte, ADA, all these things, Cardano, which is ADA. Anyway, yep, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good point too, because like when we're looking at projects, we should be looking at like, what problem do they solve? What is their use case? Who is their team? How are they backed, right? So these are all characteristics of a successful project. Like, who are their partners? Where are they being used? Like, like sometimes like people get super concerned about, Ripple or Stellar, because they've been stagnant, they've been up, they've been down, mostly down. But it's like, if you look at their partnerships and you look at like the future of where we're heading, like you have to intuitively just be like, will these tokens be used? Will this technology be used? And the answer is yes, because if we're sending money across seas, it takes a couple of days and it's very expensive. Why wouldn't we use these systems? So, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty exciting. I know it's also it's concerning, right? But again, like Kelly and I, we don't do day-to-day trades. So we're investors, and sometimes we'll do swing trades or longer swing trades or something like that. But as we dollar cost average in, when the market goes up, we dollar cost average out. We take a little bit of our profits out, which we were talking about in the beginning of the podcast. So when times like this happen, we have some USDC on the side to buy back in and then ride the wave back up. So and again, it's like, if you're new to trading or investing, just watch it. You don't even have to invest. Watch the cycles. Because it's going to go on for a while. This is new. It's still pretty new. So we're just going to watch the cycles, dollar cost average in, dollar cost average out, and we're building our wealth slowly. And it's great. It's so exciting. So with that said, okay, so the next set of news is there's that big couple-day Davos meeting. I didn't listen to all of it because these people drain my energy.
You know what? First of all, I want to acknowledge that first and foremost. Everything that your research, I couldn't do it. That's why I'm so grateful for that. To even listen to anything that any of those individuals are saying is draining of my energy. So go ahead, please.
I would never do this, except that I do believe it's important because we're going from the old legacy financial system into the new decentralized financial system. So we have to know where these people stand, what they're trying to do, so we can, we're going to steer the ship towards decentralization. Okay. So so in this aspect, but like before the podcast, I mean, I did watch some of this stuff, but I wouldn't do it to be like, I have to get all of this together in a week. And then I'm like, these vampires are like sucking your energy, like while you're trying to, So anyway, it's kind of funny because like this Klaus Schwab character from the World Economic Forum, this guy's like a cartoon character. I mean, it's ridiculous, but he was like beaming with joy, introducing Janet Yellen to talk about the economy and our expectations and how we're going to move into this modern supply side economics instead of Keynesian economics, which is pretty much what we do right now. Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, what this modern supply side economics is moving towards boosting our labor supply, so people working, and reducing carbon emissions, no longer producing products, but reducing carbon emissions. So my job as a researcher, the bells go off for me. Ding, 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 ding. Which companies, which cryptos are carbon neutral? And we're going to do a whole podcast on it. And it's pretty exciting. But at the same time, it's kind of like, we all want a better climate. We all want to see our emissions drop, right? We all want the best food ever. We don't want all these chemicals on our food. We're ruining the ecosystem, all of this stuff. But again, we shouldn't have to give up our individual rights to have a carbon neutral society. So we're going to watch this and we're going to move forward. But I mean, there's some really cool projects coming out. And again, it's kind of like we can ride that wave. I'm sure when oil was first introduced to put in your car, think about how dangerous it was, right? To drive your car. And people are like, I'm not doing that. So right. It's the same thing. So again, we're going to be transitioning into this carbon-based economy. And we get to actually participate in the beginning phases of this. And it's so cool. It's like, I get excited. I want to create wealth. I want to get, my intention is to get some land, get some farm, build a community as I get older, and it's just, this is our ticket. This is how the average person can come in during the greatest transfer of wealth in history. And we are a part of this, and we are early. And I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps. Like we know it in our soul. This is happening.
That's why I'm not anxious. I am not. No,
we should be excited to buy the dip. And I don't know if this is the last dip. I'm not financial advice. This might not be the last dip. And we'll keep going. But again, when the market dips like this, it's like, how do we get some cash on the side? How do we get some more cash?
Okay, I'm not going to do that coffee today. That's got to go in anyway. So keep going.
Anything down. It is.
Yep.
Okay. So the second thing I'm going to talk about Davos, and then we're going to move on, So Klaus Schwab introduced Jinping, the leader of China. And I got to tell you, this guy, Klaus Schwab, he loves Jinping. He loves him. He praised him. His people are controlled by a social credit score. They do not have freedom of speech. And this guy is praising Jinping for the way the economy is moving and all of these things. And I'm like, this guy, Klaus Schwab, is so full of shit because Evergrande is falling. They can't pay their bills. There was a big thing about the Shamao Group, which is, I think, the 8th largest real estate developers. They're defaulting. The real estate economy in China is 25%. It is crumbling. And Klaus Schwab is praising Jinping. Are you kidding me?
Right.
So anyway, I just like to point these things out because to me, it's absurd. And these people they started World Economic Forum back in 1971, where an inflation actually started to take off because we took the money off of the gold standard. So it's just very interesting how messed up things have gotten since these people, unelected officials, have taken control. So again, the house of cards is falling. And I know these people have power. I am not saying that they don't, but we, the people, are going to win. We're going to steer the ship into this new world.
It's one of the beauties about this podcast is because I am in the majority, I am part of that. I don't listen to that stuff. I never have. And so for you to come in and share these little tidbits to me is just really, it's eye-opening and it's empowering for me to understand the energy that I'm tapping into is spot on as far as what my own thoughts and feelings are without really knowing all the fine details. So
yeah. And again, I mean, it's kind of like when I look at the United States, and I think we can all we have been the superpower, and now we're getting more of like a level playing field. The dollar is getting devalued, and it's a power, like I said, it is a power grab, and we're shifting into this new economy. So it's like they can try everything that they can, but it's failing. It's failing. You could see it. You could see their narrative falling apart everywhere. You can see the protests, the news, all this stuff is going on. The narrative is falling apart. Did you see Trudeau, as like a side note, but Trudeau said that the Canadian truckers was like a small group of people. Those lines went on for 70 miles.
Yeah,
People
I
need
followed
the truckers. Yeah, we need the truckers to deliver the food. And they've been so good at their job that we never even appreciated them because they were invisible because they did their job so well. The shelves are always stocked up until the virus and the shutdown, right? That's how good these people did their job. So kudos to the truck drivers. I'm so proud of the Canadian truck drivers because
amazing.
Right. And moving forward, we need the government to be in the hands of the people and not the elite few so we can create a more equitable world. We all want equity. We all want inclusivity.
Undoubtedly.
But not Janet Yellen being almighty, like, look at me, I can do this and this is what's best, because it is not what's best. If Janet Yellen came out and said cryptocurrency is banned, then cryptocurrency is a $2 trillion market cap, and that will have ripple effects everywhere, and we will fall behind in this technology. People with money, people who have built these companies, they will get the F out of America. Believe you me, they will leave. So it's not going to happen. It's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It causes the market to dip. We buy the dips. We hold on to our coins, and we just patience. The other thing that I found it funny too with the stupid news, I mean, it gets so annoying. So like I saw these headlines. People were like texting me yesterday the Biden administration is saying that an executive order is coming out in February, and it's kind of like Bitcoin is a matter of national security.
I know.
Like, really, like really, like the dollar is the most, corrupt money. Like, people weaponize the dollar. They use it to trade, like with the drug cartel, like sometimes I think about this, Kelly, like, is it, okay, so like, if I'm bringing drugs into the country in Mexico, how do I do that without getting caught? But if I have the government on my side, I'm not like, and maybe it's not happening, but I've always thought about it. Like, how are they doing this? How are they getting all of this into the country without getting caught? Or bringing the children all, like, I went to the Atlanta airport like way pre-COVID, and it's like all the signs were about trafficking children. It's like, okay, well, I have to go through what everyone else goes through to get on the plane. How is, if I have like 12 children with me, like there's no question of something. I don't know.
It's all business. It's all a business. It's all a business model. We don't have to get into all those details, but it is. Everybody's scratching every other person's back throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. And again, I just like to bring up these questions because sometimes I'm like, I don't understand how half the things happen in this world unless there was some sort of like government backing. You know what I mean? Like, that's, because like I'm a researcher, so I research, and like, Jeffrey Epstein was part of like the Foreign Relations Council. You know what I mean? So like he was part of the government, y'all. Like, what did he have on these people to do the things that he did? And again,
catch a thread. You'll find the threads that are, I can't even imagine how, a lot of interweaving, I should say, being done there, no doubt.
Yeah. And then I think the last thing before we get into, we'll get into Jerome Powell, because there was a big meeting, with the Federal Reserve, but it was funny. A reporter had raised his hand during one of the meetings with Biden, ask him questions, and he asked him a question about inflation, and Biden said, "Shut up, you stupid son of a bitch." That's what he said, the president of the United States. And I'm like, are you Trump? I'm totally politically incorrect. I don't like any of these people, by the way, but it's like, this is something you would think Trump would say, not Biden. And I'm like, so someone's concerned about inflation for all of American citizens, and the president's response is, "Shut up, you son of a bitch." And I'm just hoping that, like, as we move forward, we can have a little bit of more intellectual capacity of people in the government.
Yeah, I think there was a few other things that were shared there, right? I think, that was a really interesting thing.
He did call the reporter later on, and it's like, sorry, pal.
Yeah.
You got to keep asking the questions. But I mean, that bottom line is the government's not being transparent. So, and I mean, it's kind of funny and it's kind of sad. But
I think it's that old adage, or at least I call it an old adage, you got to keep on pulling off the Band-Aid, and we keep on pulling off the Band-Aid to show all the infection underneath it. And that's what we continue to do. And it's important because that's the only way that we can continue to get better and heal. Keep on ripping off the Band-Aid. So,
right.
Pulled off another Band-Aid.
And the more this gets exposed, then the more It's like, it's kind of like being in an abusive relationship. How many times are we going to trust these people to do the right thing? It's like generation after generation, we haven't really seen people's lives get better, like poverty get diminished, homelessness go away. And they always have these like grandiose ideas, but like, where does the money go? And this is going to stop. This is going to stop because we the people in the near future are going to be funding projects to end homelessness, to end hunger, because we're going to be the ones that are taking care of each other, not the elite few.
Undoubtedly, undoubtedly. And that is a driving force for me to continue to do and walk a path that is not of the norm. I don't fit into the norm. I will not walk in the norm. My path is an unconventional path, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's all about being able to care for those that haven't been able to do it because of whatever circumstances, environmental, whatever it is. Yep.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Right there with you.
So, with that being said, I'm just going to touch base real quick on the Federal Reserve. So Jerome Powell came out and spoke on the 26th. So it was 2 days ago he spoke. And again, like, the Federal Reserve is in existence to maintain maximum employment and stable prices. So because technically speaking, we are at maximum employment, he wants to start to raise the interest rates in March. And traditionally speaking, that should lower the prices of the stock market, of housing, and cryptocurrency. So my thesis is every time they raise the interest rate and the market drops, good time to buy crypto. So we just kind of dollar cost average in over the next couple months, see how this whole thing plays out. And that's kind of like how I'm looking at it, and take that fear component away, because again, we can't preface this enough. This technology, this new system is getting adopted all across the world. Like, I'm on the Federal Reserve's website. You could go to FedNow payments. They're moving to ISO 2022 or 222. And when you look at the ISO compliance tokens, it's XRP, it's XLM, it's Algorand, it's Ethereum, it's IOTA. So, like, again, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're manipulating the market. Like, why would they do that? Right? But this is what it's all about. So,
believe me, they're setting themselves up for great success. Their delays, their pushbacks, whatever it is all to make sure that they're taken care of as well in their whole business model. I mean, it's all a game. So we're playing the game.
We're playing the game, and we're using this podcast to communicate with everyone, to expose what they're doing, because before the market went down a lot, I know Mark Zuckerberg sold some of his Meta stock. Elon Musk sold some of his. People in the government sold some of theirs. And it's like, insider trading is illegal, but did these people get tipped off before the market dropped?
And didn't Coinbase sell quite a bit of their holding too, just within this last week? That was like So, I mean,
as they're selling, Ripple bought back their shares. They're buying back their shares of Ripple because they made an announcement. As soon as the lawsuit is over, they're planning on going public. So they did a huge buyback of their shares over this past week, and they are getting prepared for this lawsuit to end. And it's so exciting because imagine the announcement of Ripple going public, and then XRP is going to get adopted.
And just for side notes, because I'm always watching the charts on the side. XRP right now is trading for 60 cents. Oh, such a lovely sound, 60 cents for XRP, isn't it? Just makes your ears sing.
And it's going to be so cool, because a year from now, we're going to be like, remember when XRP was 60 cents? And now it's $6.
I know, right? All right.
All right. So with that being said, the only other FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, I wanted to touch base was that the Russian central banks made an announcement that they wanted to ban crypto. And then Putin said no. So we have to learn who's in control of making these laws, because it's not the central banks, it's the actual parliament of Russia. They're not going to ban it. They're going to regulate it. And that we want regulation. Like, we don't want regulation, but I don't think we're evolved enough to not have a good system that works, but we have to
Well,
get a
we need
better
a,
system.
yeah,
Right.
we need a
We need a
system,
good
period.
system. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So I definitely like to see that. And on top of that, so as we see the unraveling of like the elite players and these like corporations, they're starting to fall apart. And it's, it's kind of cool because like, so Facebook right now, they have collected so much of our data that they're the fifth largest supercomputer to date. And by mid 2022, they're saying that they will have the largest supercomputer made.
Yeah, that's really frightening to me to think that Facebook is, or Meta is the owner of that.
Right. But again, through these podcasts and through the younger generation, and it's not just us, it's everybody. It's like, if we ask ourselves, like, how prepared is humanity for this? And like, will everyone give up their data and their power to be regulated responsibility for our day-to-day lives through Facebook? And I gotta say, the answer is no. I think Facebook is going to be the next MySpace. I know they're big, I know they're powerful, and I know everybody gets on there, but like, there's going to come a time this year that instead of Facebook, we're going to have a really good social media platform that we can go to. And it's
Yeah, we were
not,
talking a little bit about that yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, what does that look like? Is it Dragon Lair through Dragon Chain? What is it? What is it going to be? Is it Silo? I'm excited about that, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. And we're going to see how it like unfolds. But again, it's stuff to look out for. But again, I don't see this truly happening. Like, I see it happening, but I don't see them being like super successful. Another good news story this week was that Google got sued for people. So when you're on your phone, you can opt out of the tracking service and you click opt out. Google tracked you anyway. So now they're being sued and being taken to court. And again, when you're in an abusive relationship and these people take advantage of you time and time again, how much longer are you going to be in this abusive relationship with these companies? There's other companies out there that are being built to protect our data and our anonymity, or at least pay us for our data. And that's why I love Brave. I love Brave because you opt in. You don't even have to opt in, but you opt in. If I want to see an ad or participate in something, they're going to give me a little bit of the basic attention token for my time. And that's how we go ahead.
So Brave, just talk about Brave briefly, because for those that may not know, Brave is an alternative to Google. And Brave is a more secure, private way to exist on your phone or on your computer. So, and the BAT token, the Brave token is what you're referring to. And I completely agree with you on that. I love the Brave option.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and like, again, like, just even a couple of years ago, like, we didn't even hear about Brave. And just look at how much it's developed. Look at how many users are moving to the Brave browser, and then you could do your search through DuckDuckGo. So the privacy and like all of this stuff, it's happening. So again, I don't see Google, unless they're gonna have to change the way they track people, or they're not gonna do well in this new decentralized world. They're not going to do well. And Peter Schneider, he's the director of privacy at Brave, and he was talking about this, with the Chrome browser users, with the Google, and so right now, like 2 out of 3 people are searching using Chrome or Google. Where is this going to be next year? How many more people are going to transition over to Brave? It's going to be so much fun to watch.
That's one of the things that we will be teaching and talking about within the class that we're holding is the importance of discernment on what browsers we're using and why it's so important, not only for just our privacy, but also in protection of our, building our wealth and getting into the cryptocurrency arena and things of that nature. So it's multifaceted. Highly, highly encourage anybody and everybody to move over to the Brave. I actually deleted Chrome off of my phone, even though it's a Google phone, it's an Android. I still went ahead and deleted the Google search engine off.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And anyone who has an Android phone can de-Google, you can de-Google your phone, just like, we should stop saying Google it. We should start saying DuckDuckGo it.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack. Yep. So there are ways, and there's going to be more and more phones. There's just the technology is getting better, and it's all going to emphasize privacy and security, which is going to be awesome. So with that, you want to talk some Ethereum? Let's talk Ethereum. We don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Ethereum's been up and down. There's been so much frustration. Gas fees are still high. So let's get a timeline. I kind of went in and did a deep dive just to kind of come up with a timeline to give us a sense of when this is going to be better, and also to understand the success that Ethereum has had and will have, because it will be and will continue to be very, very successful. Like the entire blockchain of Visa is built on Ethereum. They are not going to let this continue and be bad. But again, there's so much development. There's so many things going on behind the scenes. I kind of wanted to touch base on where Ethereum's headed. So Ethereum is just like Bitcoin today. So it's in the process of moving from like a proof of work, which is what Bitcoin is, which is great security, not great scalability. It's slow, it's clunky, but it's a great store of value, but not so much for smart contracts and payments, right? So Ethereum got together and said, hey, we have to be more like Algorand, Cardano. We need to move over to a proof of stake, which will give it that more scalability. It won't solve the fees, but it will improve security, make it more scalable, and it'll save energy. And when we talked before how we're going to be moving over to a carbon-based economy, we need all of these technologies to be carbon neutral as much as possible, because that's what people are going to want. So that's like one good step that Ethereum is moving towards, and it will help with the fees a little bit. But so back in like December 2020, they released their beacon chain, which is going to be like that proof of stake chain. That was released by the end of the year. And then now they're kind of they're going to connect it in June with another chain called shard chains. And that the shard chain is going to improve the scalability and the throughput, which is going to kind of like divide the data processing responsibility among many different nodes. So that's really going to help with the scalability of Ethereum. And that, without any delay, we're looking at June 2022 for all these systems to merge, for Ethereum to shift over to proof of stake. It probably will get delayed. This is a big, big project, but again, they're moving in the right direction. And what was really interesting, Kelly, when I actually looked at like, well, what's going to help with the fee solution? Because the fees are so high. And the top two layer 2 projects that are specifically built on Ethereum to help with their fees is Loopring and Matic.
Okay, so this is so cool because first of all, I really wanted to circle back on the fees, and for twice now, Loopring has come into my dream state. Twice now. And it was like, okay. And that's how I do a lot of my investing in this stage of my life. I'm like, okay, if it comes to me in a roundabout way through gifts of side or whatever it may be, then that's what I'll do. So last week I like, okay, I got it. So I went ahead and got into Loopring. But the fees, Ethereum isn't going to go away, but it is the mafia of cryptocurrencies. It's absolutely ridiculous what happens. I mean, it's just, it's painful. It is so painful to do things with Ethereum. So I like to think and hold the line and the belief that they'll be able to fix it through these process changes.
Absolutely. And like when I look at Ethereum, like, and now that they're moving towards like a proof of stake, think about all the institutions and like the big investors that locked up their Ethereum, to help Ethereum move from proof of work to proof of stake. So we have all this Ethereum locked up. They came out last year with their EIP 1559, which is like the burning mechanism of some of the tokens. So as we move into this new system of proof of stake, Ethereum's going to become even more deflationary, which means that the price of the token is going to go up. So I think we need some patience. We need to give them 6 months. But again, NFTs, USDC, institutions, 9 million Ethereum staked right now on the Beacon chain. It's only going to go up. It's only going to go up. We just have to ride this out. And as this is happening, Cardano and Matic and other players are getting more and more adopted. So now we're going to have competition in this arena. So it won't just be the mafia of Ethereum kind of like, really like being a part of everything. So we're going to be leveling out the playing field. And again, if you go to Cardano, I think most development right now is on Cardano, even though it's not getting like really good press. I think, we talk about tokens of the week. We definitely want to start looking at Cardano, like definitely. And the other thing is too, just about ETH, like when the staking process is converted, like once Ethereum is totally converted over to ETH, there will be like a slow allowance of taking your coins, like to unstake them. So we're not like, everyone's not going to be like unstake your coins to take profit. It's going to be a process to bring stability, to this platform, which is pretty cool.
A really key thing that needs to take place versus everybody liquidating and moving their coins all at one time, which drives the market down, of course. So
yeah. So that should not happen. That definitely should not happen. Cool. Oh, so let's start talking about NFTs. You want to do some NFT adoption? Because it is everywhere.
I know, and it's still so mind-blowing to me. And I've got my thoughts on a couple of NFT projects myself that I'm thinking, oh, that would be an awesome project. So yeah, let's dive in, because I know that Cosmic, or wait, hold on. It's Cosmic. The rose coin. What is it called? I just went blank on it. Oasis, the Oasis network, which is known as Rose, just launched their NFTs too. So yeah, let's dive in, because it is amazing what's happening out there with the NFTs.
So many things. So Polygon, which is Matic, they just announced a partnership with Prada and Adidas to, launch an NFT collection in the metaverse. So that's some pretty big news. And what was really interesting, so Paris Hilton was on the Tonight Show, and they announced for the first time ever on televised TV an NFT giveaway. For really? Paris Hilton's line. Yeah, I forget what it's called. Some plastic. I forget what it's called. I think I have it written down.
I knew that she was involved. I knew that she was involved in the crypto world. I'd heard her name mentioned in a few various Twitter threads and things of that nature.
Yeah, so it's called Super Plastic NFT. I don't know what it is, but I just thought it was so cool because she's on the Tonight Show, and it was the first time they gave away an NFT on nationalized TV. And her NFT was built on Origin Protocol. I just like to keep track of all the different, protocols. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for like mainstream adoption. And then I was in pretty deep. I think I sent you a video about Blocktopia just to kind
Yeah.
of, right? Because a lot of times Kelly and I talk about this stuff, but then like we don't go in the metaverse, like we don't look at it. And so I pulled up Blocktopia and I watched the video, and it's so interesting because it's kind of like a marketplace for, you could buy and sell real estate, and you could probably buy and sell like goods and services, like digital goods and services. But Engine announced that they were launching their headquarters in the Blocktopia universe. And Blocktopia is a traded token, and it's only a couple cents right now. And I just thought that was like super interesting, because what Blocktopia is aiming to do is to bridge the physical world into the virtual world.
It's
Pretty
crazy
cool.
because I had seen like Amazon, a while back having its own little storefront. And that little video that you sent was amazing because you saw Matic, you saw, I think, Alger, I don't know what else you saw in there. And I was like, oh, these are great. These are big coins and things of that nature. I did not realize that Blocktopia, even though I had done the deep dive a little, I guess I didn't do that deep of a dive, was a coin.
Yes, it's BLOK, I believe.
Blocktopia. I'm looking at it right now, and it's 3 cents as we speak.
Yeah, so that could be a good little diamond as these systems get developed, and it's really going to catch on. And I think like the gaming, and we say this a lot, but the gaming NFTs, because they don't need this regulatory clarity from any government, they can prosper. They can prosper. And like, and there was an announcement from the CEO of YouTube, like they're doing research for NFT adoption as well. So it's all of these like major corporations and companies are starting to look at NFTs.
It's still so mind-blowing, NFTs. I mean, it's like it's still so mind-blowing. I have a hard time, but it is what it is, and it is being, like you said, mass adoption is taking place. So, okay.
Yeah, and and I was thinking too, I really feel like, and I'm hoping and praying that this is going to be a very slow process. Like so many times I have to remind myself, like, this is my life. Like I'm in this 100% learning crypto and what's happening and what the future could look like. And these are all possibilities, like people can stand up and be like, I'm not doing this, and it could be like a great way for gamers and, creative people, but we don't have to live in this like 24 hours a day. So,
and we actually spoke about this at the very beginning before we actually started the podcast today, is about the necessity to take a break from the digital worlds within which we really are living in. And it's going to become more and more, forced upon us, whether we like it or not, but how important it is to leave that phone down and take away, get outside or whatever, just anything to do with something other than technology is really, really grounding and important for us to stay present in the physical world.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's so important to have balance. So important to have balance. And now with that said, so Everdome, and I know I mentioned this last week, but I want to mention it again. The public sale of Everdome's token is February 8th. So as it gets closer, there's no exchange yet. And Everdome is partnered with MetaHero. And I really believe that this can be like a huge breakthrough with the realistic technology of having a hyper realistic metaverse. So definitely something that we want to follow, because the coins are not even released yet. And I know with the market going down, and like, it's kind of like we want to own, some of the financial companies and the cross-border payments. But when we're looking at some of these metaverse projects, we can still get them for pennies on the dollar. And there's a lot of them. So we don't know if we're right. We don't know if these are going to go out of business, but I feel comfortable enough. Like, I own MetaHero, I own Blocktopia, I own Starlink. We talked about some of these, but as it progresses, and I think this is going to be a year we're going to see a lot of this technology really get developed and be like really cool. It's going to be cool.
It's going to be way cool. This is a huge year for yeah. I am so excited. It makes me really light up in the morning to see what's going to be revealed. Every day it's like, okay, let's see what's next.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. And, and I was even looking at like Grayscale over the week, and they're considering adding 25 more crypto assets. And for those who don't know, Grayscale is the world's largest crypto asset manager. And they're looking to add AMP, VeChain, Algorand. This is big time. This is big time. So, it's kind of like you look at who could potentially be the winners. And when you look at the largest crypto asset manager looking to add these coins, you could feel pretty good that most of them are going to be winners, if not all of them.
I agree.
Super cool.
I agree.
All right. So how are we doing with time? I know I kind of talked a lot.
That's okay. I think, you know what, I think we can keep going if there's a little bit more. We also want to touch on our 3 coins each of this last week too. So how do you feel? Do you want to step into another? I know that one of the topics that we have is probably one that requires a little bit of the liquidity loans protocol.
Why don't we talk about that next week? So next week, we're going to talk more about liquidity loans, just because I think we'll keep talking about it, because there's so many different protocols coming out. And this is our new banking system. So the more we talk about it, the more we're going to understand how to use some of these platforms, in the future. So just to kind of go back, since we'll talk about that, we'll do our 3 coins, but I wanted to touch base again about the drone racing league, which is something that we've been talking about, because it's so funny to me. Like, I watched a video of like these young people racing drones in a stadium, and it's like an obstacle course, and you have to like go through these hoops and things like that, and like the whole thing is totally being like funded by like Algorand. So there's $100 million deal with the Drone Racing League over 5 years for Algorand. So again, they're saying that this Drone Racing League could be like the wave of like professional sports in the future. So think about like that, like people aren't going to want to watch as much football and all of this other stuff, because they're doing, it's like more like gaming. Like, people are really, really into this. And it's just so interesting. And again, to see the guys, they're sitting there with their headset on, with their little joystick, flying the thing around, and like on the corner of their shirt, it says Algorand.
I think we're already seeing where this, and I don't follow any sports, but where that has already been slowly but steadily, the viewership is falling to the side, whether it be participation. Of course, with the recent couple of years, we haven't been able to go watch particular sporting events in person. And I know that that's shifted, but I think, baseball would be a perfect example. That's been falling off the charts for a long time, as has tennis. But regardless, I think it is very much what you're seeing take place.
Yeah. And it makes sense. Like, we're seeing like, more people are into esports and just like different, it's really interesting to see. With that said, I mean, when I was thinking about like coins to keep an eye out or maybe just start researching, Algorand, I checked before the podcast, it was trading at 96 cents. So it's down 38% in the past month.
Algorand's been down a lot. So is that one of your top three? Go ahead and go down your list.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of my top three. The other coin I was looking at was Cardano, which is ADA. That's the token. And again, I'm looking at how many people are developing applications on that blockchain, how much activity is on there. And I believe it is the highest platform in blockchain right now that's being developed. So I also think that Cardano could go down lower. All these coins could go down lower, but again, it's like when you look at the all-time high of just over $3, and it was trading at just over $1 this morning, what a great time to dollar cost average. Not financial advice, but we want to start watching these coins. And the other one too, so the last one was Solana. And again, Solana's down 50%, and they're having so many problems.
They are having a lot of problems.
And sometimes when these projects hit bumps in the road and correct heavily to the downside, that's when you buy back in. Because again, you have to ask yourself the question, is Solana going out of business? No. We're just going to have some problems that we need to fix. Solana, I mean, it's definitely way more expensive, but $90. But again, it's down, 50% over the past month. And again, most of the coins are. So these are just
across the board.
Yeah, I was just looking at these three. I think they're interesting. I own all of them except for Solana. So, but I'm looking at picking up some Solana, at some of these price points as I watched Jerome Powell talk about raising the Fed, raising the rates.
Awesome. Yeah, those are all great coins. Okay, so for me, I mean, you've already touched on one of them. One was Loopring that, I kind of did a deep dive on that this week after it came to me again. So I'm definitely very interested in that from its energetic standpoint, and of course what its purpose is. So Loopring would be mine. I'm also really interested in Silo. I mean, of course, we've talked about Silo before. It's up. It's winner, chicken dinner. I mean, it's up 38% today, 39% as of just now looking at it. So I am a really big proponent of that particular project and what its intention is. So that's definitely one. The other one for me right now is I'm really big on Matic.
I love Matic. I love them all. I love them all. I mean, Matic is doing so many good things.
Yeah, they really are. And when I saw that Blocktopia video that you sent, I was like so excited. There was Matic. That's the one that really caught my attention, in that video there. So yeah, those would be my top three this week, the ones that I'm really looking at. And a lot of times when I mention these, it doesn't mean that I'm holding positions in a lot of these things. I'm just looking at them. They cross my vantage point, and I'm like, this is really interesting to watch. So
yeah, and it's hard too, because my top three coins that I just talked about, but I bought a little bit of Hedera Hashgraph this week just because it dropped back down to 21 cents. So it's like I'm just using this time to build the bags I already have a little bit. Right. And because I made a list of all the coins I wanted to look at, and I think there was 18 of them, because when the market goes down, everything's on sale. How do you pick and choose, So
yeah, I've really been trying to fine tune my approach and not have 36 coins or not have 45 coins.
Right.
So, but it's hard because there's so many amazing projects out there. All right. Well, I think we've had another successful Friday conversation. So much.
Yeah, this is great. So much information. We're going to keep everybody posted. definitely check out our website. We appreciate any support, any purchase that's made, for merchandise helps keep us going, because there's definitely costs involved. So we appreciate any support whatsoever. And I'm really looking forward to the class in the middle of February. And yeah, I guess until next week.
Yep. Until next week, hodl on.
Hodl on.
Your hosts for Two Women in Crypto are Andrea Caldero and Kelly Lair. Andrea can be reached at digitalcoach@protonmail.com, or you can find her on LinkedIn at Andrea Caldero. Kelly runs 2 programs related to cryptocurrency: The Future in You Cryptocurrency Group for Women, which can be found at news72media.com/thefuture, and The Gateway to Crypto, The Magic of Flipnir, through the Northern Gateway at thenortherngateway.org/cryptocurrency.